Yo, check this out. This is Wayne Wonder, representing for Warrior LTV. You see the vision, don't it? See the vision. Warrior LTV. Keep it locked.
I'm gonna tell you. We, as bloggers, these are the issues that we need to address. You understand what I said? Set the bar for the youth. Share, like, and subscribe, and stay tuned to the channel. I don't know all this shit. Yes, brothers and sisters. Greetings once again in the mighty name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. And all things good and wonderful amongst us and about us. Want to welcome all viewers and subscribers. Viewers, if you like the content, subscribe and go to the platform. Share this one here and make it, just share it. It's free. See? So we come across some little like attitude the other day from, Clif Hughes in particular nationwide, regarding defending the Prime Minister's action in its entirety over Clifton Bernard Lodge, because the news media will watch them and see what go on and things like that. So in like making we judgment on what go on, the estimation on what go on over Bernard Lodge, we have to observe news mediums and things like that. Well, one of the most vibrant defender of the Prime Minister has been Clif Hughes, and according to him, it seems as if no wrong has been done whatsoever, or no law has been broken, and the people who are cry out, to me it seems like they are deserving, according to his attitude towards the thing. It seems like them deserve to be in the position that they are in for various reasons, And we don't understand the humanity. It concerning. It shows it's a lot of concern because you don't know. It's a lot of depravity going on in the business, and when you see people act with a level of insensitivity and still put forward no satisfactory argument, so as to, benefit the thought process of the public, non-biasly, yeah. So, I have a little clip I want to show the item, and then I have a couple articles you have to read for the item. See it. So, watch the clip here, and then we jump back in it after, as you know. So when we go back in it, at them time, then we're going to discuss the meat and the matter, the source, the whole thing.
Mr. Fitzjackson, you had that. And you remained deafeningly silent while your party leader put his 2 feet in his mouth. Your party spokesperson put her 2 in her mouth, and the other one, Buchanan, put his 2 feet in his mouth and embarrassed themselves. So I want to ask you this morning, Mr. Jackson, don't you speak to your leader, the opposition leader and the party leader, Mark Golding? Did he not call you and say, well, Fitz, this is developing. What is happening here? Tell me. We need to make a statement on it. We need to take a position on it. You tell me. You guide us. Yeah, that is politics 101. Yeah, politics 101. Now this morning, having heard the Prime Minister and Mr. Jackson yesterday, yes, can you square that with what the opposition leader said on the weekend? Yeah? He intends to says the PNP intends to take other action on behalf of the residents. In addition, the women's movement will be seeking counseling services for the residents. Which resident? Which resident? Nobody wasn't evicted. Huh? Nobody wasn't evicted. So which resident you're going to provide counseling and legal services for? Huh? And the politics of this is, doesn't Fitzjackson speak with Mark Golding? They don't speak. Do they? This could have saved another own goal by Marky G. Oh Lord.
So that was that, you know? That was that. But you know, you see, most youth who was say 10 years old in 2009 would have been now like what, 22 years old. So they were the young adults of Jamaica today, you know, the young voting public of Jamaica today was toddler then, who had no concern with the happenings of the day. Does 2009 ring a bell? Anyway, let me educate some of the items, because sometimes we have to observe certain level of, we have to scrutinize people's actions and things like that. See? And to see if there's a motive, if there's any grudge, you know me I say, yeah, and them sort of thing there. And from our estimation, you know, and before me even give my views, me I go read for the item. So that's the item full stand. The gravity of what come where I go on here. So Percival James Patterson versus Clif Hughes and Nationwide News Network. Yeah. Jurisdiction Jamaica, Supreme Court of Jamaica, Judge P.A. Williams J. Docket number, claim number 2010 HCV 002214, date the 30th of October 2014. 2014 JMSC Civ 167 in the Supreme Court of Judicator in the Supreme Court of Judicator of Jamaica in Civil Division. Claim number, as stated earlier, between Percival Patterson, Clif Hughes, as stated earlier, and Nationwide News Network. All right. Mr. KD Knight, QC, Mr. Bert Samuels, Mr. Matthew Beckford, and Miss Stacey Knight, instructed by Messer Knight and Junior and Samuel for the claimant. Lord Anthony Gifford, QC, and Miss Anika Gray, instructed by Gifford, Thompson, and Bright for the defendants. Defamation, damages sought for libel, whether words, defamatory, qualified privilege, Reynolds privilege. P.A. Williams J. the background. On the 15th day of May 2009, listeners to the radio station Nationwide News Network Limited, NNN, the second defendant, awoke to what was described as breaking news. The item of news was delivered by Mr. Clif Hughes, the first defendant and the managing director of NNN, along with Miss Emily Crooks. I wonder if I the same one that we did in the Ninja Man meme. Emily, you know, you remember the meme there? Yeah. So, yeah, I wonder if I she. The then host and managing producer of the morning news and current affair program named This Morning. The item of news was about what was classified by the first defendant as a major incident at the Norman Malley International Airport involving some prominent individual arriving on a private jet on which was found a diplomatic pouch. This pouch, when allegedly scanned, was said to contain hundreds of thousands of US dollars, approximately 500,000 US dollars. The names of the person traveling on the private jet were not given, but listeners were encouraged to continue listening to Nationwide News for more on this huge story, including the revelation of the names. The information was said to have been received from a highly well-placed official source. In a subsequent newscast, it was revealed that, according to the source, the retired Jamaican Prime Minister, Honorable Mr. PJ Patterson, the claimant, that means that him sue them, and his special assistant and two executives of the telecommunication firm Digicel were on the flight that brought some Cuban diplomats into the Norman Manley International Airport. The details of the incident were outlined by Ms. Crooks as given to them by their sources. The claimant had in fact traveled into the island by private aircraft with a high-level delegation headed by the group CEO of Digicel and members of its technical team, but he knew of no such incident taking place. On the same day, Friday the 15th, 2009, he wrote a statement outlining what he said had happened. He was offended by the news broadcast, which he felt contained implication of baseless allegations of wrongdoing against him. On the 20th of May 2009, the then Prime Minister of Jamaica, Honorable Mr. Bruce Golding, issued a statement concerning the report he had received from the police on their investigation into the incident. The investigation confirmed that information similar to that reported by NNN had circulated, but the police had not been able to determine the source or origin of this information, which had ultimately been proven to be erroneous. By the 28th of May 2009, the attorneys at law acting on behalf of the claimant wrote to the defendants indicating that their client had been defamed. You know, rush me reading a grade 9. Me left school in a, you know, use that and ridicule me. And we not do school grade 9, you know, go check the registry. Me no go no more. Alright. On the 28th of May 2009, the attorney at law acting on behalf of the claimant wrote to the defendants indicating that their client had been defamed in that breaking news story broadcast during the airing of the program this morning on May 15, 2009. After outlining the words which were used and published, which it was felt had tended to injure and degrade the character of client, exposing him to hatred, contempt, and ridicule, which also tended to lower him in the estimation of right-thinking members of society, a demand was made. The demand was for a suitable worded apology to be published on that station as well as in the two leading newspapers, and that the claimant be paid damages commensurate with his station in life locally and internationally, along with his legal costs. The demand was not met, and the claimant commenced this action. The claim, on the 29th of April 2010, the claimant filed his claim form claiming against the defendant's damage for libel, including exemplary and aggravated damages resulting from various radio broadcasts hosted by the first defendant. He is seeking the following remedies inter alia against the defendant, jointly and or severally. Damages for libel, including exemplary and aggravated damages. 2. Interest at commercial rate pursuant to the average weighted loan rates for commercial banks as published by the Bank of Jamaica, or such other rate as the court may deem fit. The offending words. In his particular of claim, the claimant outlined the words he found to be defamatory of him as contained in the various news reports on the 15th of May, first during the program this morning, then in the midday news, and finally on the evening news and cover story programs. In this morning program, this is how it sounded on the program. In this morning program, we can tell you from a highly well-placed official source, there was a major incident at the Norman Manley International Airport last night involving a current senior politician and a former senior retired politician, involving some Cuban diplomats. The landing of a private jet at the airport last night, Norman Manley, with a diplomatic pouch. When the diplomatic pouch was scanned, hundreds of thousands of US dollars was in that diplomatic pouch. 2. The customs authorities I gather, acted in concert with the law enforcement agencies of the state involving customs, the Solicitor General Department, as well as the Office of the DPP, all acting in concert and apparently on intelligence, not only search the plane but also question the two senior politicians in the presence of the 3 diplomats, Cuban diplomats. It got very heated based on what my sources are telling me. So this is a quotation here, son of my word. Remember, I read from something else. So it got very heated based on what my sources are telling me. So much so that the diplomats involved reboarded the aircraft and left with the diplomatic pouch containing what is estimated to be approximately $500,000 US. I gather from my source, the law enforcement sources, that the authorities were concerned about the source of this money and its intended use, and they were acting under the Proceeds of Crime Act. We will have more on this story. It's a huge story. Absolutely. So, wads of cash, US dollars by 2 senior politicians, one current and one retired farmer. Acting, of course, they would still have their diplomatic passports because of virtue of the position that one is now occupying and that one occupied. And so they came. They flew in on a private jet. Absolutely. That's Clif Hughes. Came with diplomats with wads of US dollars, which have now gone back to their source of origin. As to what exactly the money was to be used for here, we are not sure, or the source of the money, but it is sufficient that there was intelligence coming from the origin of the information, the money, so much so that it could have been tracked here to Jamaica, and the diplomats, and the diplomatic, what you call it, pouch, the pouch, diplomatic pouch was searched, which is quite unusual. Doesn't really happen like that. More on that story. We have the names of the individuals. We will tell you later. Shall be bringing you that very soon. Keep listening to Nationwide News. What a preke that a Clif Hughes and him laugh. King. My word, that's Clif Hughes. On the midday news on May 15, 2009, on the Nationwide Radio, the defamatory saga continued. Good afternoon, I am Elizabeth Bennett with the details. Several questions are swirling this afternoon about what happened late last night at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston. Nationwide news sources tipped us off this morning that an incident involving 2 or 3 Cuban diplomats, a former Jamaican Prime Minister, a current senior PNP politician, customs and immigration officials, and the Narcotic Police Division took place sometimes after 9 last night at the Norman Manley Airport. Emily Crooks has the detail. Emily, according to our sources, the retired former Jamaican Prime Minister PJ Patterson and his special assistant Deborah Hamilton and 2 executives of the telecommunications firm Digicel were on the same flight, which brought in the Cuban diplomats to Norman Manley International Airport. There are conflicting reports as to whether or not another senior and active PNP politician was involved in the incident. Local customs officer asked the diplomat about the source of the cash. It is also understood that the local custom officers were not satisfied with the explanation given. On May 15, 2009, on the evening news and cover story program Nationwide perpetuated the defamation by publishing the following. Anyway, the following is one bag of details where you have to go through some paid sit. Now, not that, but we have some other thing here where, you know, can read and other thing. But before all of that, Emily.
Something all right. Something all right, yeah.
So, you know, the other clipping them now. See? Right here, so we're just wrap it up speedily because, you know, we just approve, say, we're not too appreciate love. We have to be careful of the sources of certain information and them intent with how them portray certain things on certain people, because there can be conflict of interest. There also can be a level of bias due to, you know, ill will, ill feelings, ill experience and things like that. The lawyers representing Patterson initiated legal action based on nationwide coverage of the arrival of a plane in Kingston in 2009. Patterson and several digital executives were aboard a flight which landed at Amman International Airport on May 14. In the court documents, Patterson had asserted that he had been defamed and was seeking millions of dollars in general aggravated and exemplary damages. During the case, the Supreme Court heard audio recordings of the alleged defamatory comment. Patterson and Hughes had both testified during the hearing. We have a different part, so we want to read too, so you will find it. You know, see it. But the Gleaner have a lot more, where, you know. Anyway, when them say foot in our mouth, these are the Radio Jamaican news. Clif Hughes, Chief Executive Officer of the nationwide news network, NNN, in court on Thursday expressed remorse over a breaking news item involving former Prime Minister PJ Patterson broadcast on his station on May 15, 2009. Mr. Hughes was being grilled for close to 6 hours by attorney K.D. Knight in the hearing of the defamation suit brought by the former Prime Minister. The NNN head paused and offered that, based on what he was told took place, as well as several developing issues, it turned out that his news organization got it wrong. In making that admission, he added that he was sorry. However, Mr. Knight was not prepared to leave it at that. He questioned Mr. Hughes about his knowledge of Mr. Patterson's character and whether the former Prime Minister would have done something illegal. Mr. Hughes replied, no, emphatically no. I wondered why. There was a break in the cross-examination to allow for the playing of an excerpt from this morning on NNN show with host Emily Crooks. Miss Crooks also tendered a public apology and blasted the Golden administration for what she described as the confusion which crept into the matter. The trial continues on Friday. Anyway, you know, this are all news. This are revisit these things because at the end of the day, we like to have a level of confidence in other people who are bringing across certain arguments to us, and you know, with the hope that these arguments are without bias or malice. You understand me? And it is what it is. So we have to employ a level of vigilance, you know? So we keep reading the story them and things like that. Kingston, Jamaica, Mackay News. Clif Hughes ordered to pay PJ. Popular TV personality Clif Hughes has been ordered. Clif Hughes has been ordered by the court to pay former Jamaican Prime Minister PJ Patterson for the defamation of his character. Hughes has been ordered to pay $12.5 million to former Prime Minister PJ following he had aired on his station following Patterson's arrival in Cuba on a flight from Norman Manley Airport, flight chartered by Digital in 2009. It should have been from a flight from Cuba to Norman Manley Airport. So, you know, somebody get it wrong there, so, or probably intentionally to distort the whole thing. So, what we are trying to do is find the sum and the amount, and, you know, to make sure, say, it's, you know, yeah, we're not going to go into that. But you know, catch the drift still. You know, the fact is, some serious money was paid to PJ Patterson of the PNP by Clif Hughes back then, you know, and in my estimation, that is more than a need, or you know, to be a bit biased or a lot biased in the case, any case involving you know, the PNP or PJ Patterson from Clif Hughes. You know, PJ Patterson is more than likely still an active member of the People's National Party. Yeah, you get me? And that again is in my estimation, in my views. It might not be so. Don't quote me on that. You know, see, but why not? I mean, he's alive and he's has always been a member of the People's National Party. He led the party once. He was Prime Minister of the nation once. You know, why would he not still be a member? I don't know why or what that reason would be. But, you know, so conflict of interest are high level indignation and animosity towards the whole PNP concept type thing. You know, this kind of look and sound. Let's see if I find another piece of article where we can read to the item, but more, you don't know, we have to do it in the sphere of legality and things like that, and watch how we are work, cause we know so them are set for lock we down. We know they want lock we down, but we are trying abide by the certain guidelines or the guidelines so that we don't get caught in them trap. You know, see, because we know them terrible like that. And if them is that, you know, if vindictive, you know, from then until now, it could, you know, you have to assume a level of caution with them people, yeah, because transparency might not have been the order of the day today, you get me? Because it wasn't back then, you know, see it. And like me, I explained bias and controversial type of issues and things like that. You know, see it. You see if you read that one here already.
Naturally disappointed. The court has found against us. Our lawyers will be examining the written judgment, and we will consider it, and from there on, we'll take further advice.
Damn. I mean, that's the man himself. Foot in a mouth, that's that's a feet. That's many feet in the mouth. I look like other people body part, but with foot in a mouth. Clif Hughes, CEO of Nationwide News Network, NNN, having lost the libel suit brought against him and his organization by PJ Patterson, former Prime Minister, expressed disappointment at the outcome of the case on Thursday. So obviously, even till this day, you still have a high level of dissatisfaction and, you know, grievance. Why not? I would. I freaking would. Why not? Our lawyers will be examining the written judgment and we will consider it. And from there on, we'll take further advice, he told RJR News. The Supreme Court awarded the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, $12.5 million in damages plus costs in the case. The award resulting from a story aired in 2009 that defamed Mr. Patterson. It concerned an incident at Norman Malley International Airport involving a special charter flight from Cuba. Mr. Patterson was among the passengers. Yeah. So, I don't want to take that. I don't know how the audience or the crew, subscribers and viewers, I don't want to take that or want to receive that, but it is what it is. You know, the future, the past, it can't be, you can't change that. You know, see, that happened already. And we still are waiting to see it change, like, let me see, what, 12 years after, you know? But, I mean, the whole thing was filed a little less years than that. It was filed in 2014, and probably decision was made also, yeah, in 2014. This publication was done, and 12:54 p.m., Thursday, October the 30th, 2014. So that would be 6 and 2, 8 years ago. That the sword is still raw. Must still raw, you know? But it is what it is. And as it is like that, we expect a high level, contempt, to say the least, for the People's National Party and the PJ Party. But that is just it. Me not give nothing opinion. Just leave it at this. At the end of the day, who do one needs to convince, really? You know?